Here's a rewritten version of your story expanded to approximately 1,800 words, maintaining a serious and cinematic tone while deepening the dialogue and narrative. It was a quiet May morning in Los Angeles in 2025 when the city was shattered by sudden violence. At exactly 9:15 a.m., 3 coordinated explosions rocked the metropolis, targeting Los Angeles International Airport, the downtown financial district, and a key military installation near Long Beach. The carnage was immediate and horrifying. At least 47 people were killed, and hundreds more were injured in what was quickly deemed one of the worst terrorist attacks on American soil in 2 decades. Within minutes, the news was everywhere. Every major American network interrupted its regular programming. The images pouring in from the scenes were chaotic and haunting. Thick smoke plumes rising above LAX, shattered glass littering Wilshire Boulevard, and ambulances racing across downtown. By 9:30 a.m., the country was in collective shock. Inside the Oval Office, President Donald Trump was in a policy meeting when his national security advisor burst in, breathless. "Mr. President, we have an emergency in Los Angeles, 3 simultaneous attacks. We're looking at dozens dead, possibly more." Trump's face turned crimson. He immediately summoned the National Security Council to an emergency session. "Who did this?" he demanded. The CIA director, voice grim, responded, still analyzing. "Sir, but the pattern suggests coordination from a known international terrorist organization, possibly linked to groups in North and West Africa." Thousands of miles away in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré watched the unfolding chaos on television with deep concern. At 35, Ibrahim had spent much of his military career fighting terrorism in the Sahel. He knew what this meant for American families. "Draft a message of condolence to the American people," he instructed his foreign minister, Dr. Alance Guedraugo. "This is not just America's tragedy. Terrorism is the enemy of all humanity." But Ibrahim could never have predicted that President Trump would turn this moment of mourning into a geopolitical weapon targeted directly at him. At 2:00 p.m., Trump stepped in front of cameras to address the nation. His opening words struck the expected tone: sorrow, unity, resolve. But within minutes, the message shifted dramatically. "This attack," Trump said, his voice hardening, "is a reminder of the real threats we face and why we need real leadership. Not flashy young presidents playing pretend with terrorism statistics. Some international figures may impress university panels and news anchors, but fighting terror requires real experience." To the casual viewer, it seemed vague, but to anyone following international politics, it was obvious. Trump was targeting Ibrahim Traoré. He continued, "While Americans are under attack, some African leaders are busy boasting about made-up victories over terrorism. Maybe if they spent less time giving lectures and more time learning from the experts, the world would be safer." The backlash was swift. Political commentators were stunned. "Unprecedented," one analyst said. "The U.S. president using a national tragedy to insult a foreign ally, and especially one known for actually reducing terrorism, is unheard of." Social media exploded with outrage. "Trump uses the deaths of 47 Americans to attack a foreign president fighting terrorism more successfully than he ever has," tweeted one Democratic senator. "Disgraceful." CNN quickly contacted the Burkinabé embassy. Anderson Cooper himself called Ouagadougou. "President Traoré," he asked, "would you like to respond live?" Ibrahim had spent the day coordinating security briefings and preparing a dignified message of condolence. But now, the context had shifted dramatically. He paused. "Mr. Cooper," he finally replied, "the tragedy in Los Angeles deserves solemn reflection, not political exploitation. But if President Trump wants to compare counterterrorism records live, I accept." The world took notice. CNN announced a live confrontation at 8 p.m. Eastern, Trump versus Traoré. America's most controversial leader versus Africa's rising star. The backdrop: a burning Los Angeles, still smoldering from coordinated terror. Dr. Guedraugo voiced concern. "Mr. President, this is risky. Trump is rattled. He might say anything." That's exactly why we must respond, Ibrahim said. Silence in the face of lies is surrender. At 8:00 p.m. sharp, CNN aired what would become the most tense political broadcast in modern history. Anderson Cooper opened from Atlanta. On one screen, President Trump in the White House. On the other, Ibrahim Traoré, speaking from the presidential palace in Ouagadougou. President Trump, Cooper began. Earlier today, you appeared to criticize foreign leaders during a time of national mourning. Can you clarify your remarks? Trump's jaw tightened. Anderson, Americans are dying, and meanwhile, we've got so-called experts abroad giving TED Talks about terrorism while real people are getting blown up. Enough with the political correctness. I'm calling out the phonies. Cooper turned. President Traoré, your response? Ibrahim sat upright, calm and composed. First, Mr. Cooper, allow me to offer my heartfelt condolences to the American people. No nation should endure the pain of losing innocent civilians to terrorism. My heart is with every grieving family tonight. Then his tone sharpened slightly. However, using this moment of sorrow to spread disinformation about nations working daily to fight terrorism, successfully, is both disrespectful and dangerous. Trump leaned forward, agitated. Disinformation? You lead a country most Americans can't even find on a map. What successes are you talking about? Ibrahim didn't flinch. Since 2022, Burkina Faso has reduced terrorist attacks by 89%. Our techniques are studied by NATO, the Pentagon, and European intelligence agencies. Fake numbers, Trump snapped. You people inflate everything. Always have. Our data, Ibrahim replied coolly, has been verified by the U.S. State Department, CIA, and independent global watchdogs. They have our full reports. Perhaps you should ask your own agencies. Then he delivered a surgical strike. As we speak, Mr. President, Los Angeles is under attack. Maybe it's time to examine why American counterterrorism strategies failed today, while ours have succeeded. It hit Trump like a brick. Ibrahim had taken America's tragedy and held up a mirror to its leadership. The president's face flushed darker. You're 35 years old, he spat. I've been fighting terrorism since before you were born. Ibrahim's response was instant. Age does not equal effectiveness, results do. And today, the results show Los Angeles burning, while Ouagadougou sleeps peacefully. How dare you? Trump barked. America is safer than any African country. Mr. President, Ibrahim replied, today 47 Americans died. How many Burkinabé civilians died in terror attacks this year? Trump faltered. That's not the same. It is, Ibrahim said. It's exactly the same. We've had 0 civilian deaths from terrorism in 2025. America had 47 today. Cooper interjected. President Traoré, are you saying Burkina Faso's methods are superior to America's? I'm saying the data speaks for itself. Ibrahim answered. We spend $50 million annually. You spend $50 billion. Yet our citizens are safer. Efficiency matters more than spending. Trump was now visibly cornered. You don't face real threats like we do. Ibrahim reached for a document. Mr. President, we face Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, sometimes simultaneously, the same groups that attacked Los Angeles today. We didn't get lucky. We got smart, and we won. Then came the hammer blow. Maybe it's time for America to learn from those who've succeeded instead of mocking them. Trump's face twisted. He lashed out. You forget who you're talking to. America has military power that can destroy your country in hours. Even Cooper looked stunned. Mr. President, are you threatening a foreign leader? Ibrahim's voice didn't rise. Mr. President, you just proved my point. Threats against allies, when confronted with facts, is why terrorism wins. Military power without strategic intelligence is nothing. America spends more than any nation on defense. Yet your cities still burn. Power without wisdom is waste. Trump was livid. You know nothing about power. Ibrahim smiled faintly. Real power is protecting your people, not threatening others to distract from your own failures. Today, 47 American lives were lost. Instead of facing that, you insult those who succeeded. That's not leadership, that's ego. He paused, letting it sink in. That is the difference between a leader and a demagogue. Leaders protect their people. Demagogues protect themselves. Anderson Cooper leaned forward. President Traoré, those are strong words. They are necessary words, Ibrahim said. The American people deserve truth, not deflection. While Mr. Trump attacks me, American families bury their loved ones. That's unacceptable. Our counterterrorism experts remain ready to assist. Pride should never outweigh saving lives. Suddenly, Trump's screen went dark. The president had cut the feed. Ibrahim turned to the camera. To the American people, he said, I offer not just condolences but real help. Politics must never stand in the way of saving lives. The confrontation had ended, but the fallout had just begun. Across American newsrooms, editors scrambled. Social media erupted. Within minutes, hashtags like Trump meltdown and Traoré truth were trending worldwide. Editorials poured in praising Ibrahim's composure and condemning Trump's reckless rhetoric. What was meant to be a simple condolence message had become a global turning point, one where a young African leader stood before. On a calm May morning in 2025, Los Angeles was rocked by 3 coordinated terrorist attacks, killing 47. President Trump, visibly shaken, addressed the nation but shockingly used the tragedy to criticize Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré. Traoré, known for his counterterrorism success, responded live on CNN, calmly dismantling Trump's accusations. He highlighted Burkina Faso's 89% drop in terror incidents and offered American agencies help. When Trump threatened military action, Traoré replied, "Real power protects people." As Trump exited the broadcast, global viewers praised Ibrahim's poise. In tragedy, he emerged as a new symbol of effective leadership in a chaotic world.